Back now in the town hall, as we reported yesterday, New York State Attorney General Letitia James says that she will appeal a judge in Syracuse's decision to strike down certain aspects of the state's new gun laws, but is requesting the law stay in place while that process plays out. What some have called an unforeseen consequence of the new law is its impact on historic reenactments. Channel 2's Rob Hackford joining us now with more on this story. Not something you would certainly expect here, but how do these changes apply?
Yeah, Kate, there's a lot that comes down to interpretation with this. What history buffs and some lawmakers are pointing to is the inclusion of various historic weapons in the state's new definition for the word rifle. Then it's the use of those rifles in newly defined sensitive locations like parks, museums, and other public areas that could leave reenactors open to a low-level felony.
You get the flash, you get the bang, but there's nothing coming out of the muzzle.
Historical reenactments are of major importance to Old Fort Niagara, says Executive Director Robert Emerson. For their bottom line,
About 20% of our budget.
Not to mention the educational value, Emerson says, that comes with learning about American history. It's why when early concerns about the state's new gun law were raised in September,
A couple of problems became pretty evident.
problems that did not impact any events at Old Fort Niagara, but in the long run, Emerson says they could. Because based on how the law is written, in some interpretation, bringing a live historical weapon into a state park could result in a low-level felony, even when using a blank.
The governor has publicly stated that reenactments were not the target of this legislation, and she has stated that, they can proceed, and we're taking her at her word on that.
Was this just an oversight when putting this law together?
I do not believe it was an oversight. I believe it was a typical example of hastily putting legislation together without input from those with experience or knowledge of issues.
Assemblyman Angela Morinello is far from the first lawmaker to question how these gun laws were put together. The issue has been highly politicized, but when lawmakers return in the spring, this issue with reenactments, Morinello says, is already on the way to being fixed.
We're very hopeful that now that this issue has risen to the surface, that the legislators, when they go back into session, will take the appropriate action to amend the law.
Well, and Kate, I did get a short statement as well from the state just a bit ago, and it once again reads, these laws allow historical reenactments to occur and will work with legislators and local law enforcement to ensure these events can legally and safely proceed. So once again, we're seeing this debate play out, and interpretation really leaving a lot of room for consideration of this law. Of course, when state lawmakers return in January, there'll be a lot to talk about, and certainly we'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, certainly more to come with that. In the meantime, how do all these multiple lawsuits affect this going forward?
Yeah, Kate, just like all the other aspects of this gun legislation that people are challenging, including that one allowing guns in churches, if a judge rules, that will temporarily be the new rule for a time being. So a lot of lawmakers and as well as sheriffs are taking a wait-and-see approach right now before enforcing this law. So again, a lot to come and a lot of different changes that we'll be covering through the coming weeks.
As always, it'll keep you busy.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. Indeed.
All right,
Thanks,
Rob,
Kate.
thank you.